All right, it's 1:37 in the morning, June 8th, 2020. I was just editing some videos, moving videos around, copying, deleting, converting a few videos, and I had rendered a video and I moved it over onto the hard drive because I have these external hard drives where I keep everything. And I moved it over. It was a bigger file than I thought. It wound up being 700 something megabytes, which it's not a huge deal. It's just that it just took me off guard. I thought it was going to be like 200 and it wound up being 700. That's fine. But I did it, and then I moved it over to I finished rendering it, and I moved it over to copy it over to the folder in this hard drive. And I remember thinking about my back in about 2002 to 2003, I was getting more into computers, just general stuff, just file sizes, and just really starting to be curious about video, online video or digital video. And I had 2 or 3 computers, just kind of bits and pieces I'd gotten here and there, and I'd gotten some hard drives, some internal hard drives, but there were these guys, I can't remember. Oh, they were this, it was this kind of, it was real narrow, a desktop computer, and it kind of had this thing on top. It looked like a mohawk. It was, I think it was a compact of some sort, but I don't remember. And I had 2 of those. They had some big old huge clunky 90s computer. But I was really getting into like opening the computer, see how things plug together. I'm real good at getting into stuff and then disassembling it. I'm terrible at putting everything back together. But I was able to figure out on one of those compacts that, you can find the hard drive, the internal hard drive, unscrew it, and then you had these, those huge port connectors, and you just unplug those, and then you put another hard drive on there, and boom, you can, you'd have to reinstall everything and do all that, or, copy things over, that kind of thing, or copy it to one, some other hard drive and then copy it back to the newer hard drive. Anyway, but these were just kind of cheap computers, and I had remembered that I had gotten the initial hard drive, the internal hard drive that came with the computer was like 3 gigs, and I was maxing it out in a heartbeat. I was starting to figure out how to download videos at the time. The videos were smaller, and it was actually easier. You could right click, and a lot of times in the early 2000s you can just save file as, and then it would save the actual video in whatever format to your computer. Things don't work that way now, but anyway. And I was downloading stuff, and I was 3 gigs was just like nothing. So I was able to get this, I picked up this 13 gig hard drive. 13 gigs. I thought that was the biggest thing ever. And I was able to put it in this little computer, and it had 13 gigs of space to store stuff on. It was amazing. And that brings me to another thought. In 1995, long story, but I was taking a class. It was a statistics class, and this friend of mine, his dad he worked as a statistician at a company, and I went to see him one night. He apparently was working nights, or I went over there, I don't know, in the late afternoon, whatever. And he was just kind of showing me around. He's a real great guy. The the guy who was my friend was real nice. His dad was super nice. He was showing me around. He was showing me their big computer they use. And that computer, this was 1995, had 12 gigs of storage on it. 12 gigs. And when he told me that in 1995, it blew my mind. So by the time we got to about 2002, 2003, I had a 13 gig hard drive that I could put in my own computer. It's the most amazing thing ever. But anyway, here we are in 2020, and I bought a 10 terabyte hard drive last month. And I'm sitting here thinking, I should get another one. And I'm looking online at 12 terabytes. So that's just the way it's going. But back in the day, 12 gigs and 13 gigs was like a huge amount. So anyway, just thinking about that.